Welcome back to Conversations from the Kitchen, where stories are shared, laughter is welcome, and sometimes life brings us right back to the places where everything began. Today's conversation takes me back to high school in California, to being students, to dance class, and to spending as much time together as we could outside of school. My guest today is Heidi Clemmensen. Heidi and I were friends, the kind who were always together. Sometimes we were at her house eating snacks I definitely didn't have at mine. Other times, she was at my house practicing dance choreography in my kitchen to songs like Ghostbusters. We were laughing the entire time. We also walked together to visit her horse, where she had him boarded, a place where she seemed grounded and fully herself. We had so much fun. We laughed constantly. We were both pretty hyper, but Heidi always brought an extra spark. Always moving, always joking, always filling the space with energy. Life eventually changed the choreography. Heidi went on to build a successful corporate career. Along the way, she made room for other people, responsibilities, and expectations, the kind many of us quietly accept as adulthood. And then, at a time many people would never consider starting over, she listened to something deeper. At 51 years old, Heidi is now in her third year of veterinarian school at the University of Iowa. This is a conversation about friendship, sacrifice, and what it looks like to finally make room for the life that's been waiting. Heidi, welcome back to my kitchen. Even though we were connecting from different places, it means so much to be sharing this space again after so many decades, to hear your voice, remember who we were, and just reconnect in this season of life. I'm really grateful you're here, Heidi.
I am so grateful for you having me here. This is so exciting. It's so great to hear your voice.
I guess I kind of want to just dive in and ask you some questions.
Yeah.
So when you think back to like high school, what stands out the most? I know a lot has happened, but like the dancing, the laughing, just like the time we've spent together, either dancing or just what you remember about that time.
So I specifically remember being in your kitchen with your sister. I
Hmm.
remember she was either on the dance team or cheerleader for Chaffey College, which was
Right.
a college just right up the road from us. And we were choreographing a routine for, I think it was a basketball game, I believe. And I think it was her choreography. So I specifically remember for hours on end practicing in your kitchen. I'm sure at some point your dad and your mom were both there laughing, because I can picture your dad's mustache in my mind. Um, and I can see your sisters sitting in front of us saying, nope, start over.
Hmm.
Nope, start over, rewind. And of course, this was the days before um digital music, so everything was on a cassette player.
Right, right. Oh
There
yeah.
were no there were no CDs, no cell phones, no computers. So
Right.
yeah, I think high school was hard, I think, in the earlier years. And I think it took me a while to find like my tribe in high school. But I remember us having the best of times. And
Yeah.
whether it was my house or your house or dancing or just laughing uncontrollably, um, I just
Absolutely.
remember fond memories.
Oh yes, absolutely. So, um, I mean, we just laughed all the time. And what do you think laughter gave you back then, like especially as a teenager trying to like figure out who you were? Like where did you get your comedic talent from?
So it's funny that you mention that because I think when you hear other people talk about you, especially when you were younger and when you kind of look back at who you were, like I don't have a lot of memory of me being comical or funny. I remember
Mm,
laughing a lot and just enjoying the fun. But I look at that now and the friendships that I've made in school, and I mean, my laugh will carry through the commons, which is kind of just a place where we eat, study, chit chat, whatever, between classes and during lunch. And literally, my laughter carry, like you can hear it down the hallway. So
right.
it's for somebody to come on that doesn't know you as well in this time period, but knew you so well in your high school years to say kind of who you are as a natural. It's just, I don't know. It's funny because I guess I never thought of myself as a funny person back then. I know I just like to laugh and have fun.
Right.
And I'm still the same way today. Like if I can make somebody laugh, it just makes you feel better.
It
It
does.
just, laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah, and I think we were equally yoked, like our energy. Like I didn't care what people thought. I had no like
No.
reservations. I was so confident, you're like, anything was funny. So yeah, I just same thing. And you did. You were funny. You like we always made each other laugh. I don't know why. It's just we did. But I know back then too, I just remember going to visit your horse, and I mean it's not very vivid, but like horses were like it seemed like it was such like a steady presence for you in terms of visiting your horse. Like what did being with your horse give you when like you felt everything felt busy or loud?
It's so I had one horse that I got. I don't know if this is the one that I had when we saw, but I had a horse for 23 years.
Yeah.
And that horse truly saw me through everything. And it was funny. I was talking to a classmate earlier today about her horses, and there's such amazing creatures. And to have a bond with something that is that majestic and that big,
Yes.
it kind of blows your mind. And so I'll be honest, when my guy passed, he passed in 2017. He was 29 years old. And I was with him that day, but I had not I have not been out to see a horse until I think it was last summer that I went to go see some draft horses of one of my classmates. So it took me many, many years to go back to what I once loved, but it's horses are just amazing creatures, and I always just felt a connection. I mean,
Hmm.
to any animal, but my horses were very dear to me. So,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
I miss that
Beautiful.
part of my life that I don't have one anymore, but someday
You will.
again,
You
I
will.
will.
Well, I know after high school, life moved quickly for both of us because, we kind of moved away, different spaces. I moved away from California. Careers, responsibilities, the expectations. Like, what path did you step into after we graduated? Or,
So I was kind of the black sheep of my family, and that's weird to say because I'm the only child, but I I think I just had this inkling inside me that I wanted to try to make it on my own. Out of high school, there wasn't one thing that I was truly interested in terms of dedicating 4 years of college to. And so retail kind of fell into my lap, and I stuck with it. So I built a career, and retail was very good to me.
mhm.
And my last position was a district sales manager. So I oversaw, I think towards the end, I think I had 4 different states and over 200 people that were under me. And it was truly a love that I had such passion for. Um, but yeah, that's what I did
Right.
for 30 plus years.
Yeah. And you were good at it, I'm sure, too. Absolutely. So, yeah, like, so at some points, something started speaking louder to you. So, like a pull toward veterinary medicine. When did you first notice that calling?
So I will try to tell this in like an abbreviated story version. Um, I mean, obviously, I've always had a love of animals. I think in sixth grade, I wrote an essay of why I wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up. So, like the thought was, I think, always there, and I have always loved animals. But it was probably towards right before COVID hit. So I think it was probably 2019. I was living in Houston. Houston has a huge overpopulation, homeless pet situation that goes on. I had at that time disposable income, and I did a lot of TNR, which is trap, neuter, return, for the community cats that lived in my neighborhood. And so I traveled quite extensively for my job. So I was gone usually Monday through Thursday. I had cat sitters to come look after my personal at home kitties. Uh, and I remember them calling me one night and they said, there's like four white kittens out here. And they knew what the cats that I typically fed, that were outdoor cats that had been fixed and all that good stuff. They knew who they were. And so I was like, huh, that's interesting. And so that night, sure enough, there were four cats like across the street, and talked to the person at the house, and they weren't theirs. They just showed up randomly. They were all purebred cats. So they were all Scottish fold cats that had the cute little folded over ears. There were two adults and I think three kittens. To make a long story short, I had to leave out of business, like out of town, I think a week after I took them in. And so I called another lady in the community, and said, hey, can you at least take these in, until, the end of December, until, retail during Christmas gets busy. And she was like, absolutely. And so I remember calling her probably mid-December and I was like, how's everything going? She's like, well, sounds so awful. But she said all the cats have passed away except for one baby and one mom. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to need you to bring those cats back to me. And so, long story short, I partnered with one of my veterinarians that I used in Houston. She was able to do some work pro bono. And I remember I took the mom and the baby to her, and the baby was probably 8 weeks old and only a pound, so severely like malnourished.
Mhm.
And I remember she looked at me and she said, I don't want to worry you, but the kitten may not make it overnight. And I just looked at her and I was like, okay, I understand. She's like, at this point, we're just doing supportive care. Like, there's nothing else that we can really do. We've given them all, the medication that we can. I said, no,
Right.
no, I get it. And I took them home and I put them in my extra bedroom and woke up every hour on the hour to give this little kitten fluids, to give him something to eat, to try to get him to eat. And I remember the call I made the next morning to her that he made it. And I think it was at that moment that I think I just felt that I wanted to spend the rest of my working years giving back in a different way. Like, what I was doing was great, and I loved my team and I loved my people and I loved what I did, and I felt like I was impacting people at a deeper level. But that, I think that was the moment that I was like, what I'm doing is great, but I want to do more. And
Right.
so, as cheesy as that sounds, it
It's
was
not.
that moment that
That was the
I
turning
felt,
point. The
yeah, it
turning point.
was. It was.
Right. No, that's great. Hey, that just pulls at people's heartstrings. It's like situations and experiences kind of change your perspective just to be faced with something like that. Well, like, so choosing veterinarian school meant like starting over in many ways for you, as we're talking about this. So, what were the hardest? Well, I'm sure it's very challenging, but what are the hardest challenges you faced making that decision?
Gosh, I think the hardest thing, like looking in hindsight, like, yes, the classes are hard. I knew academically it was going to be challenging. I knew that going in. I think what I didn't expect that was probably harder than anything else was I'm coming into a world where people have worked their entire lives to get to vet school. It's very challenging to we don't have a lot of vet schools in the US. So each class is only about 150, and you're looking at about between 2,000 and 2,500 applicants per cycle per year that apply. Um, so it's one, challenging to get accepted. Second, when you come into this world that you've never been a part of, I felt a part of me, especially, and it surprised me because I didn't expect to feel this way, but I remember the day of orientation going home and almost breaking down crying because I felt like there were so many people that were ahead of me, even though I was ahead in so many different ways. But from academics to just being a part of the veterinarian culture, people knew how to do things that I had never even done before. Simple things like loading a scalpel blade, like just the
Hmm.
simplest of things that I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I've never done that. And so I remember one of my classmates on our very first day where nobody knows anybody. And she's like, how did you get here? And the way she said it just like kind of broke my soul. And I was like, oh my God. Well, I applied and got in like everybody else. So luckily those things have like dissipated. And I think your first year, everybody's trying to feel everybody else out and like you're still competitive at a certain degree. Why? I have no idea. But now that everybody has gotten to the point where classes are new for everybody. So like it's the first time that we're doing surgery. It's the first time that we're being graded on being surgeons. It's the first time that we're taking classes that nobody would have ever had or been exposed to before. So I feel like those things have gone away, but it was definitely something I was not prepared for at all because I thought I was, mature enough to handle anything that came my way, but like some of those comments in my first year kind of hurt my soul, and I
Right.
felt for the first time in my life I felt really inadequate and like did I make a huge mistake?
Right.
And then I think the second hardest thing was literally going to having, a disposable income, to go and get groceries, or if you want to go out or you want to get your nails done, or just
Right.
the little things you don't think about like as an adult that now are like I don't have that luxury anymore because
Hmm.
you can't work during vet school. So it's that part has been hard to give up. I had to give up my home in Texas and completely downsize. And I've been thankful that my family has helped me along the way, but like it's, to make that decision at 48 to cash in your 401k,
Hmm.
to sell a house, to buy a house out here,
Right.
um, it that has probably been the hardest thing just because everybody else has grandchildren and some people are getting ready to retire and here I
Right.
am going I have decided to start over again. But I know in the end it'll be worth it. Um,
Right.
my goal after graduation, like I've already started looking for clinics to buy. So my goal is to open the first only cat clinic here in the greater Des Moines area. Um, so,
No,
I
that's
figured
amazing.
so I figured I'm already in debt, might as well add a business to,
Go all
to
in.
we're just go all in. So I think those were probably the two hardest things, which is feeling inadequate and just the ability to, I really did have to lose a lot. But I know in the end, I'm gaining a ton on the other end. So
You already have. Like, I'm just, I know it's been a long time since we spoke, Heidi, but like that's one of the reasons that I was just like heard your story, and I'm like, you are just such an inspiration right now to me and everyone else that is listening because, like I said, it's never too late to learn something new, and you're so strong-willed and you're doing so much to help so many. people and animals. I'm just so proud of you.
Oh,
I mean, people often assume becoming a veterinarian guarantees comfort, but there's a lot of misunderstandings. And absolutely, all the questions I was going to ask you, you like hit the nail on the
answer.
head because you answered a lot of them, Heidi. So there's a lot of heavy moments and like the weight of everything, like school, life. I'm sure you don't have a lot of time to give. So, what helps you keep going? Is there anything like I mean, I know you said you've gotten help from your family, but like, I'm sure your classmates you've gotten to know, and it's just, anything that kind of helps you keep going.
I think number one, I think starting over, even though it was really challenging, it's refreshing. So even though school is hard, and it is hard, I mean, we're talking when we're in school, it is 12, 13-hour days. And that includes studying. I mean, last semester we had surgery, so there were days that I was at school at 6:30 in the morning, didn't get home until 8 o'clock at night, and still had an exam to study for the next day. And I'm very much, I have to go to bed early because I get up really early because I think that just happens when you get older. So
When you
it's,
get to the senior years, no, I'm just kidding.
yes,
We're there. We're not there yet. We're not
we're
there
not
yet.
there yet, but my body, I am much more a morning person than I am a night person. But I
Okay.
think it's, I love the fact of learning something new. I think now that we're going, I mean, we only have a semester left before we start clinical rotations, which blows my mind. And I think just even like I worked on Friday, or not Friday, today is Friday. I worked
Yes.
yesterday at the clinic that I've worked for gosh, I've worked there for probably 5 years now, 4 years. But we did a life-saving surgery on a cat yesterday. And I got to ventilate her lungs, and like to hear the doctors behind me talk about things and me actually knowing what they're talking about kind of re-emphasizes that yes, what we do is hard, but
Right.
at the end of the day, like the information is there and I'm learning and I'm growing. My classmates love so dearly. I think it's been so, our class is vast. So we have, ages as young as 21. And I think me and my good friend Dawn are the oldest in the school. So we are both 51.
Okay.
So, and we have everything in between. So they inspire me every day because I can't imagine knowing what I was like at 21. I cannot imagine doing this at that age.
Right.
But to see them, like so many have gotten engaged over the past 3 years, and like seeing them find their forever person and enjoy their young adulthood, I think it's just been refreshing for
Right.
me. Um, and I do have the cheerleaders on my sideline. So I mean, everybody on the Facebook community, all my old high school friends, like everybody has been so encouraging. My family members encourage me every day. Classmates that I know will be friends for life because we're kind of trauma bonded after this experience.
Absolutely.
Um, but I think those are the things that I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I have a goal ahead of me that I can't wait. I'm so excited to be able to own my own business
Right.
and just to be out in the
Living your
community.
dream, living your
Yeah.
dream, like
Yeah.
living your dream finally. This is what you were meant to do. So that's amazing. So I know that you're so busy with your schedule, and I want to talk about some food because we're
Oh, I
talking
love food.
conversations from the kitchen, girl. So, do you have any go-to meals that you get that kind of gets you through long days in vet school?
Anything pasta, anything comfort food. Pasta has always been my go-to. I don't know why. I think it's Yeah,
comforting
I
you.
mean, that is our go-to
Okay.
is give me all the mac and cheese, give me the fettuccine alfredo, give me
Right.
all the pasta, and let me just go into a carb coma.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, okay, so the pasta is definitely meaningful to you, and you have that comfort. So let me put it this way, Heidi. If I were to cook one special meal for you, what would it be? Because, I like to cook and
I know.
love to cook for my friends. So next time we get together in person, I'm going to be cooking for you, or of course we can go out to eat, but
No, I prefer a home cooked meal than
yes,
out to eat, because it's I don't know, it just tastes
healthier.
different.
Yes.
Yes. Um, I'm gonna have to go with lasagna.
Okay. Nice. Do you like a veggie lasagna, meat lasagna? Do you like spinach in it? Are you more
I like it
basic?
all. There is nothing wrong with veggie lasagna, nothing wrong with meat lasagna, cheese lasagna.
Right.
It is all
Um,
good.
so, I mean, you definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of all like just your responses. Your resilience is so high, and I'm so glad because I know that there were some challenges in what you're going through, but I think it's great because internally, I think you're strong, and that's what I believe you are. You are a very strong, capable woman, and you are going to do so many great things. But I do want to ask you, what would you say to someone who feels a calling but is afraid of what it might cost them?
I would say listen to your heart, listen to your gut, because I do believe, yes, it can be scary, but I think if you have a strong support system, whether that is family, whether that is friends, extended family, whatever your support system is, I think as long as you have that, you will be fine. And do what you love to do. I think I loved what I did. I truly did, but I wanted to give back in a different way before my working years were over. And I know that they're not going to be over, but I'm just excited to give back in a way that's meaningful to me and that'll be meaningful to my community.
Right. I mean, you had a higher calling and you listened to that because a lot of people don't find their way, and it's so amazing that you did. You always knew that's what you wanted to do, but to pursue that is just huge. And again, just I can't keep saying how proud I am of you. If you could speak to your younger self, the girl like dancing in the kitchen, laughing to Ghostbusters and walking to see your horse, what would you tell her now?
Oh my gosh. I would have told her, do not be afraid. Go to school, listen to your inner self, because part of me is so excited to have this journey at the age that I am because I have life experiences. And I think in speaking with clients and dealing with tough situations, I know will play in my favor, um, as I move through this journey and open my own clinic and do all those things. But gosh, if I could have done this when I was younger, and I think I was afraid. I did try. I remember I went to ASU and I talked to the dean of agricultural sciences department, something. But I remember him scaring me to the point where I was like, nope, not going to do it. Cause he was like, well, you have to have a 4.0. Do you have a backup plan? I'm like, I don't need a backup plan. He goes, you need a backup plan. I'm like, I don't want a backup plan. This is what I'm going to do. And he's like, well, only certain people get accepted. I mean, he just would not let up. And I remember leaving that office feeling so defeated.
Yes.
And I wish I could have spoken to myself in that moment and said, don't be scared. You can do it. You can do hard things.
Right. And
Um,
those are the things that happen. But I mean, I think you're at the right place at the right time, and this is what you're meant for. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this space with me, for your honesty and your courage, and for reminding us that callings don't disappear. They wait patiently for the moment we're ready to make room. Until next time, keep cooking, keep laughing, and keep dancing wherever you can find the space, even in your kitchen. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This was amazing.